Foie gras was illegal and has been overturned earlier this year. Foie gras is an enlargement of the duck's or goose's liver. It is not issued because the liver is just a tiny meat portion that is being produced in factories and is being seen as cruel. In reality, there are other factories that produce meat in a cruel manner. Many of us would choose whether to be against force feeding or not against force feeding. Animal rights activists are one who are against force feeding. In 2004, foie gras was banned. But over a decade later, foie gras has been overruled and has once again reached the menus of many restaurants in San Francisco. I will first talk about what foie gras is. Second, what animal rights activists think of this, and how it affects the birds. Let's first talk about what foie gras is. Foie gras is a food product of a duck or goose that's its liver got enlarged during the process of force feeding. Force feeding is an old practice since Egypt. Force feeding is an old practice that was first recorded in Egypt about 4,000 to 5,000 years ago. About 80% of foie gras production is in France. 10% production is from geese, 5% from muscovy ducks, and the rest is new ducks. And in France of 2001, new ducks were accounting for 95% of foie gras production. Ducks and geese are fed corn twice a day. In France, ducks are force-fed for 12 days and butchered in 100 days. Geese are force-fed for 17 days and butchered in 112 days. In a documentary video in YouTube, David Arnold interviewed a husband and wife owner of a foie gras factory. The wife said that it's an old tradition of France, and every day the people of France always think about foie gras. Now for animal rights activists' point of view. Many animal rights activists see force feeding to be inhumane. They think it's cruel to pull a tube down a duck's and goose's throat and force the liver to expand, slaughter them, make the liver to a dish, and serve them to people. I understand where that's coming from since I would want to tube down my throat as well. But I'm a mammal and I have a gag reflex, so it will hurt. Ducks and goose, they do not have a gag reflex. Based on the same YouTube video mentioned earlier, animal activists are always seeing the bad story of a factory, which was the only foie gras producer in California, but it's shut down due to the ban of 2004. Many reporters would sneak into the factory and videotape anything that seems to be going wrong. They found ducks who were unable to walk, and they were overfed and cramped in cages. Many animal rights activists do understand that force feeding does not hurt, including a tube down of the bird's throat. And I do understand why they are focusing on these birds, where there are other factories that are not foie gras producers that do torture their animals, treat them in a cruel way, and slaughter them in a very inhumane manner. The factory in San Francisco, I have to agree, did an awful job of taking care of the birds, and it was a good thing that they were shut down. Now we'll talk about, I will give you all an understanding to how it affects the birds. On the same YouTube video, the reporter David Arnold interviewed a bird specialist, and she said that ducks and goose have no gag reflex. Here's a quote from the article, Liver That Die, Foie Gras Debate and What Lies Beneath. Many experts argue that due to the physiology of birds, they have no gag reflex and are able to breathe without interruption during gaggage. The duck and goose can swallow a fish whole. So when being force-fed, this mimics that action and doesn't bother nor does it hurt them. Also, the husband and wife factor you mentioned earlier, they love and care for the geese, and they make sure they are well fed and healthy. Many of them enjoy being force-fed. At first, they avoid the feeder. But then after a while, they start getting used to it. In a website, thegarden.com, they mention ducks and geese stuff themselves before winter, so they can be prepared for the cold and warm themselves. This is very reasonable since many animals also do this. Bears, squirrels, skunks, hamsters, etc. Though many of these animals do this for hibernation, using the food they ate as energy when they are in a very deep sleep. When eating less or stop eating, the body mass will drop and will go back to the normal size. This also applies with ducks and geese, where if they stop stuffing themselves, their enlarged liver will eventually shrink back to its normal size. Here's a clip from a YouTube video called Anthony Bourdain on No Reservation, Foie Gras is not cruel. Anthony Bourdain is the man over there with the darker hair, and the man with the white hair is the bird specialist. And he will explain how putting two down ducks won't hurt them. Well, it doesn't work. It doesn't play. Well, what pretty much he's saying is that we are mammals, and the only difference between a mammal and a duck is that we have a gag reflex. Ducks do not have a gag reflex. So when putting down a tube down its throat, it will not hurt them. And they're able to breathe due to the fact that their tongue has a little tube where they breathe through. Now I finished explaining to you how it affects the birds. It's time to come to an end. Foie gras shouldn't be a big issue. There are other factors that are not foie gras producers that do not take care of the animals. I'll talk about what foie gras is, animal rights activist point of view, and how it affects the birds. The war of foie gras will most likely never come to an end. It's an art that the French created. A cook once said, "What will be the next item of the food they will ban for chefs? You can't just limit what people want to trade." Thank you.